Howdy there, and welcome to Doc Acula's good old-fashioned Chocobo Breeding Farm.
I'm not going to keep that voice up the whole video, it would be too much. But if you've come to this video, you're most likely wondering what Chocobo Racing is all about, and what's even the point. But have no fear, because I have the answer to your questions, and I'll even keep it short and breezy because I know you have to hurry back to Eorzea to stop the forces of evil. Now that I've raised my beloved Chocobo flinker Diane up to level 40 and set her off for retirement, I feel that I should be considered something of an expert in the field. If you're like me, the first thing you're wondering is probably how to even get started on Chocobo Racing. Great question, my hypothetical friend. After all, the game doesn't prompt you at all unless you go searching for it. The first thing you need to do is take the lift from the entrance in Cactpot Square in the Gold Saucer up to the Chocobo Square. Don't worry, I missed it like the first 1,000 times I passed by it too. You'll then find an NPC that will give you a quest called So You Want to Be a Jockey. Note that you have to be at least level 15 on any of the jobs in order to be eligible for the quest. The quest will have you go to Bent Branch Meadows to speak to Catering, the race Chocobo breeder. She'll give you the choice of either a male or a female Chocobo, but feel free to just follow your little heart because the choice literally doesn't matter at all. Do note that this Chocobo is purely for racing and is completely separate from the mount/companion Chocobo you get through the main story. Now that you have your little Chocobo license paper, you can return to the Gold Saucer and name and register your Chocobo. You'll then do a brief tutorial, and from then on you can use the Duty Finder to queue up for a Chocobo race. In these races, you'll be matched up with up to 2 other human players, with the rest of the 8 total racers filled in by NPCs. But I found that most of the time you'll be racing against just the AI. By the way, you can tell if an opponent is a human player if their name is in blue. Racing itself is extremely simple. Your Chocobo has a stamina meter that drains automatically as it runs. You can press forward on your keyboard or controller to have your Chocobo sprint, which will drain the stamina faster. You could also have your Chocobo pull back to save some stamina. As you're doing all this, you're also steering your Chocobo left to right, although your bird automatically follows the track. You're just adjusting its relative position. Really, the only reason to do this is to move toward the treasure chest, which contain items, or the beneficial pads on the ground, or to avoid the negative pads or obstacles. When I say obstacles, I mean the rare enemy or for some reason turnips that you might find on the ground. When it comes to the pads, blue gives a speed boost, greenish yellow restores stamina, red slows you down, and purple saps your stamina. To sum up, blue and green, good, red and purple, bad. Items work exactly how you're used to if you've played a kart racing game like Mario Kart. Once you physically run over the item on the track, it's yours to keep until you press the button to activate it. Each item has different effects, but the only common ones that seem to really make an impact are the Gravaball, which will slow down the Chocobo in front of you, or the Briar Caltrops, which temporarily surrounds your Chocobo in a circle of thorns, which will damage the stamina of any opposing racers who enter its radius. There are also rarer items which tend to be much more useful and beneficial, with effects like granting unlimited stamina for a short time, or replenishing lost stamina. There's a little chart on the bottom of the screen that shows the next 4 upcoming items, so you're able to choose in advance if it's worth going way out of your way to get that item, or if it's worth avoiding completely so your opponent behind you doesn't get a more desirable item instead. The better you finish the race, the higher your rewards will be, although even coming in last place will get you around 150 or more MGP. You'll also earn XP for your Chocobo to rank up. Each rank, it will earn an increase of any combination of 5 of its stats, like speed, acceleration, or stamina, selected at random. Once per rank, you'll also be given the opportunity to feed your Chocobo using food that can either be bought from the merchant in the Chocobo Square at the Gold Saucer or crafted. The best foods are the ones purchased for MGP, but they can be pretty pricey at over 1,000 each. Thankfully, the game lets you know exactly which stat will be increased and by how much, so there isn't any guesswork involved here. Finally, each stat has a cap that is predetermined by your Chocobo's pedigree, with a max of pedigree rank 9 for stat caps of 500. However, your starter Chocobo will always be locked to pedigree 2, with stat caps of 100. At a certain rank, your Chocobo will also learn an ability selected at random. These can sometimes be passive abilities which give basic perks like less stamina used during acceleration, or automatically get back a small amount of stamina when you run out. There are also active abilities that you'll need to activate from your hotbar just like you would an item picked up on the track. These can only be used once per race, but just like items, some of the more powerful ones can make a big impact. You can train your Chocobo a specific ability if desired, using a book purchased from the merchant in the Chocobo Square, but starting Chocobos can only have a maximum of 1 ability, so you'll first need to erase the current ability using a bottle of water for some reason. Really, MGP is the main reward on offer with Chocobo Racing. You'll make a respectable amount just from your race winnings, but completing achievements and doing challenge races later is where the real money's at. You'll complete most of the achievements naturally as you race, but you'll need to reach higher ranks to unlock the challenge races. Sure, these challenge races are more difficult, but they offer hefty MGP rewards when completed. Honestly though, the biggest reward for Chocobo Racing is the intense bondule experience between you and your trusty feathered steed. You'll grow to love your race bird, and you'll both grow as individuals as you race together on that track called life. your great friendship will last an eternity. Actually, if you're anything like me and you're just enjoying the races and you want to get faster, you'll barely say goodbye before you send your Chocobo off to pasture as soon as they hit rank 40, becoming eligible to retire and become a breeding Chocobo, so they can give you faster baby Chocobos. But that will have to be a discussion for a later date. The big takeaway is I'm having a blast with Chocobo Racing. It's a great source of MGP, and I highly recommend you at least give it a shot. You may just get hooked like I have.
Well, it's time to hit the old dusty trail. Thank you kindly for watching, and I wish nothing but the best for you and yours. Take her easy, partner.